right. Woo. Busy morning, guys. A lot going on this morning. I'm looking at what's going on in markets, and I'm trying to figure out, am I going to make a video today? What am I going to make my video about? Oil? Is it silver? Is it interest rates? There's so much going on. I said, you know what? We're going to do things a little differently. We're just going to go live. Screw it. We're doing it live. Let's see what's going on here. My goodness, there is so much happening this morning. Oil on the rise, big time, although it looks like in the last couple of minutes, it may have died down a little bit. Silver, a big spike this morning. Interest rates are climbing again. Watch those interest rates, man. That all-important yield on the U.S. 10-year. Watch out for that. That is up 6 basis points right now. I don't know what is going on this morning. I guess everybody had a lot of time to sit and think over the long weekend here in the States. We had markets were closed yesterday for Martin Luther King Day. So seems like everybody had a lot of thought on what trades they were going to do early this morning. And then all at once, everybody just let it rip because markets seem to be really reacting right now. I have to warn you, it is a little early for me. I am not a morning person, so I am not that sharp. I have my wake-up juice in hand. So we are going to limp through this one together, guys. Good morning to everyone. I see a couple of familiar faces in the comments. Hello, Mish. Hello, Tom Stencil. Entanglement Entropy. I like that name. Good morning, sir. And hello, Mr. Timeline. So, yeah, let's just get into this. Let's shrink my big fat melon of a head right here and take a look. Now, markets have just opened. It is 9:33. We're a few minutes into the trading day. The S&P down a little over 1% right now. Let's get my windows straight. The Dow doing a little bit worse than the S&P, surprisingly, and not surprisingly, the NASDAQ is down the most out of all of them. It seems like the NASDAQ is the red-headed step index this year, just continually brutalized. I thought maybe things would get a little bit of a bump from this announcement of the Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard. That story kind of took me by surprise this morning. This doesn't strike me as a time for big mergers in big tech. It just something tells me this is bad timing and that Microsoft is going to live to regret this one. But you know what? The big brains over at Microsoft that did their DD, I'm sure they saw a lot more information than I did, so maybe they see something I don't. I would not have personally bought this one. Big Ugly MF, sir, thank you for the super early in the morning. Pink, 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 pink. That is interesting. Do elaborate, sir. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Good morning, Edward. Good morning, Steve. So, okay, the NASDAQ seems to be getting the brunt of the attack here. The Russell doing all right this morning, though. The Russell is in the green a little bit here. Oil, check this out. Oil at 84.85. All right, now let's go back about 6 months. You see on this little chart I have here. Let's make sure you guys can see me all right. Again, I'm doing this one on the fly here, so I didn't have a lot of time to plan this one. I woke up and just was bombarded by stories. Yeah, down here November 30th. If only somebody had called a bottom on November 30th. This is me gloating, folks. This is me gloating. I don't always get them right, but when I do get them right, I make a fool of myself gloating over it because I nailed that bottom in oil within a couple of hours. And we've just gone straight up. Now, I have to warn you. All right, I have to warn you. Right now, Twitter is awash with people saying $100 oil is right around the corner. $200 oil is around the corner. I saw Jordan Peterson, who is a very accomplished clinical psychiatrist or psychologist, whatever. He's, award-winning author, smart guy, probably smarter than me, but he's calling for $300 oil. And that seems a little toppy, right? We say greedy when others are fearful, fearful when others are greedy. That's where you want to be. It seems like people are picking out a little bit. So I am now down to 1/3 of my initial position in my call options in XLE. I'm up well over 200%. I've done a 3X on this one, so it's been a very good trade to start the year. Oil seems like the rhetoric, at least, is starting to get a little toppy. I'm not saying in the medium term that it's toppy. I'm just saying we're due for a down day. we're definitely due for a down day in oil and energy markets. Now, besides that, there's still a mountain of geopolitical risk. And, there was this story that came out yesterday. There was a drone strike in Abu Dhabi. It killed 3 people. I believe it was 2 Indian citizens and 1 Pakistani at this oil complex in the UAE, which is the 7th largest oil producer in the world. And that seems to be what has spooked oil markets right now. Here's the oil chart. Let's refresh this one. This one is saying 76 cents. It's up for WTI. And this one is saying we're up $1. So we've got a little bit of disagreement. Here we go. A little bit of disagreement between the websites. So it's a volatile morning in oil trading. But Houthi rebels from Yemen have claimed responsibility for the attack. If you're not familiar with them, the Houthi rebels are the Iranian-backed party in the Yemeni civil war that has been going on for years. On the other side, you've got the Saudis, and the Emiratis have been supporting the government in Yemen. So you have kind of this proxy war going on in Yemen right now between Iran and between Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and the Houthis have become more bold since they've received drones, apparently. They've been launching a lot of attacks. There was a attack on a tanker in the Red Sea. I have a map up here. Last week, there was an attack on a tanker down here near Djibouti. All right, and this attack, if you'll notice here, you've got one way you can get oil out of Saudi Arabia through the Red Sea, and the other way you can get oil out of Saudi Arabia is through the Strait of Hormuz. And you've had tankers have been seized in 2021 in the Strait of Hormuz. You had drone attacks on tankers here in the Strait of Hormuz, and then more recently, yesterday, you had this attack here in Abu Dhabi. That, again, was the Yemeni Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for that. And then last week, you had an attack down here. So what it seems like is the Iranians, through their proxies, are trying to interfere with the oil flow out of the Middle East. And keep your eye on that. There's some serious geopolitical risk in energy markets. If something were to light off in Eastern Europe, and simultaneously the Iranians were to seize the opportunity and start causing problems in the Strait of Hormuz or in the Gulf of Aden / the Red Sea, then oil prices, all of a sudden Jordan Peterson's $300 oil doesn't seem so far-fetched. And, Eastern Europe is a powder keg. Iran is, I wouldn't say a powder keg, but, Iran has been playing hardball with these nuclear negotiations recently, wanting to, get the U.S. back into the nuclear deal that Trump pulled us out of, and now Biden wants back in. And it seems those talks are not going well, and the more the talks deteriorate, the more belligerent the Iranians are getting. So there's a lot of geopolitical risk in energy markets. I guess that's where I'm going with this. Now, that said, the rhetoric right now seems a little heated. We could be in for a down day or two in the near term in oil. I'm in a position now, I'm down to 1/3 of my position in XLE, and I'm getting, they expire in March. I don't want to carry them into February, so I'm probably going to roll my position up and out. I'll probably buy some call options at a higher strike a few more months out in the future, just because I still believe overall energy is going higher, and with this mountain of geopolitical risk, I want to stay on top of that one. That said, I'll be looking for an opportunity to buy a little bit cheaper in the near term. All right. Got a lot of comments going on here. Keenan Haywood, good morning, sir. Good question on RTD last night. Oh, Rethinking the Dollar. Yes, I remind me, I need to talk to Mike at Rethinking the Dollar. I want to do a video with him. I really enjoy that channel, and look forward to hopefully working with him in the future. His live stream last night, I asked about Reggie Middleton and Veritasium and Mike's opinion on that. And Mike gave a pretty good answer to the question. A lot of people are worried about Reggie Middleton's safety. I was pretty surprised by that. Hello from the Eurozone. Hello, JK. Hello, Steve. Peterson is awesome, but $300. Okay, when? 2035. Yeah, Steve, right now, we're only at $80. It seems pretty far-fetched, but if things were to light off, keep in mind a quarter of global oil supply flows through the Strait of Hormuz and a couple of mines. It would not take any high-tech naval force to totally shut down the Strait of Hormuz. It can be done for very cheap and very low tech. Drones, mines, speedboats harassing tankers could conceivably drive oil up significantly. And throw on top of that Russian tanks rolling into Ukraine. Yeah, I think that $300 number would be realistic in that scenario. Good morning, Rusty Benhammer. Hope everyone's doing well today. I hope you're well, sir. Also, hello, Sam from Israel. What happens at 2% on the 10-year? Okay, here we go, Sam. I wasn't going to go to that chart today, but Sam took me there. Excellent question, Sam. I would say 2.2% on the 10-year is why. And everybody, I can hear the eyes rolling among my viewers right now because this will be the 150th time I have brought up this chart. But this chart needs to be brought up. Okay, here we are in the U.S. 10-year. These are one-day candles. We're sitting at about 1.83 today, up 6 basis points. And again, look at that start of the year, just straight up we go. You'll notice my purple line here, Sam. And my purple line right now is drawn right around 2.2% on the U.S. 10-year. And I say 2.2 because I zoom out on my chart. We'll have to set this to 1-month candles. When I zoom out on my chart and we go all the way back to the 1980s, every one of these peaks where we touch this purple line, every one of these, something in the economy breaks. All right, this is when the economy panics. I call this the U.S. economy's pain tolerance threshold. All right, this is how much interest rate pain or how much debt pain our economy can handle. And this chart has been declining for the better part of 40 years now, because the mountain of debt keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And starting here in 1987, Black Tuesday, the single largest stock market crash of all time, was the first time, I'm not counting this big spike here. This is Volcker fighting inflation, okay? We're not counting that. But 1987, Black Tuesday, the market freaks out. The next time we touch that line, 1994, the Japanese bond market crash spread to the U.S., The next time after that, the year 2000, the dot-com bubble bursting. The next time we hit that line, 2007, the global financial crisis. The next time we hit that line, November of 2018, the infamous Powell pivot, which was, of course, followed by repo madness in September of 2019, and then the unfortunate health issue that shall remain nameless because I don't want to get my channel censored. Every time we cross above this purple line or touch this purple line, there is some extraneous market event that causes everybody to freak out. The stock market sells off, and the Fed acquiesces and turns the money printers on or lowers interest rates and rewards the market with easy money. And I say that because that line is at 2%. Right now, it's at about 2.2% and declining. By the end of the year, it'll be right around 2%. They're talking about 3 rate hikes this year. They're talking about this accelerated taper. They're talking about rolling off the balance sheet. Okay, these are all things that are going to place upward pressure on interest rates. And if we cross over this red line, or this purple line, excuse me, in my opinion, something in the economy breaks soon after, and the market sells off big. All right, and a lot of people, myself included, theorize that this is the big one. This will be the big sell-off, the end of the era of easy money. This will be the one that does it. And, it may not happen to the day. You'll notice back here in November of 2018, it actually took a couple of months before the market freaked out. But, you could draw this line. I've seen other people draw this line higher. I've seen other people draw this line lower. Brian Zarb, who did a guest spot on my channel a couple of weeks ago, made some excellent points. He draws this line a little bit lower than I do. He seems to think it happens at 2%. I place it a little bit higher, around 2.2. But I think if we cross over that 2% threshold on the U.S. 10-year, I am going to very slowly start building up a short position in the indexes because I think the market's going to freak out not too long after that. Steve Woitis, sir, thank you very much for the super chat. Very much appreciate the support of the channel. Thanks for the great analytics and straightforward commentary. Hard to find in MSM anymore. I agree, Steve. The MSM, it seems like the MSM and mainstream media, especially the financial press, is built around bringing in these special guests from these big outfits, and their only job is to sell their book, is to talk up whatever their fund whatever their institution is selling on that day. And you never know, is somebody giving a legit market commentary, a legit call, and trying to give you a heads up, or is somebody taking the other side of the trade and they're trying to make a sucker out of you and sell that? And I will always disclose when I have a position in something I'm covering. Right now, I have no position short the market. I have no vested interest in this trade other than I keep showing this line, so I'm going to look pretty stupid if we blow above it and nothing happens. But I will always be forthcoming with where my interests lie in that. Thank you again, Steve, for the support of the channel. The Economic Ninja is in the house. Hashtag Ninja Nation. Welcome, sir. And Economic Ninja, while you're here, this is a great time to talk about the Speak Freely event in Dallas-Fort Worth. We had such a great time in Denver at that meetup that we have decided we are going to do this again on March 5th in Dallas-Fort Worth. The Economic Ninja has been nice enough to set this event up again for us, and he has invited yours truly to come give a special talk on Evergrande and what is going on in the Chinese housing market. And I am really looking forward to that, to meeting some of you guys in Dallas. So I have placed a link in the description to this live stream, guys, if you want to go check it out, and you can reserve your tickets ahead of time. Again, that is March 5th in Dallas. And here is the lineup we have. Heresy Financial, Mr. Joe Brown will be there. The Economic Ninja, of course, Andy Scheckman from Miles Franklin. David Granados, who I had a fantastic opportunity to meet in Denver. He is a sharp, sharp guy. And I made a video with him about the real estate market where he did everything right that I did wrong back in 2006. And I'm looking forward to bringing that to you guys in the coming days. Financial Fitness, The Analyst. We know those guys. They've been on my channel before. And, of course, yours truly, nobody special, nothing all that special about me. So we will be in Dallas-Fort Worth. So I hope to see some of you guys there. I'm really looking forward to that. And thank you, Mr. Ninja, for stopping by my live stream. We are honored by your presence, sir. Who else we have in here in the comments? Jason Semraj, good morning, sir. Iran did a demonstration of using suicidal boat to cripple an oil tanker. Yeah, Iran seems to be using the swarm attack methodology of asymmetrical warfare, where instead of trying to slug it out with some of these big U.S. ships in the Gulf or in the Strait, sending a swarm of drones or a swarm of land-based anti-ship missiles or a swarm of speedboats or some combination of the three all at the same time to overwhelm the defenses of these larger, slower ships. And honestly, we don't really know how that plays out because our big ships are mainly built for slugging it out with other big ships. They're not built for swarm attacks. So I'm sure the Navy is drilling and developing countermeasures to this, but let's hope it never comes to that. Let's just put it at that. I don't want to beat war drums here. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's just do business, folks, and trade. It's all this stuff blowing up is bad for business. All right, doesn't do anyone any good. By the way, Iran 100% backs Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. It doesn't with Yemen, and if it did, it would be 100%. Be vocal on that, says Waka Waka. Correct. Iran does not 100% back Yemen. Iran backs the Houthi rebels who are trying to overthrow the Yemeni government. I don't know that Iran 100% backs Iraq. There's still some bad blood between those two countries. They had a very, very bloody war between those two countries in the 80s. Lebanon, yes. Syria, yes. And, the Russians have a lot of influence there also. Again, I don't want to bang on the war drums too much. I want to raise the geopolitical awareness. Guys, something is going on out my window here. It's really messing with my lighting right now. I apologize for that. The clouds are coming in and coming out, and I can't adjust my light settings on the fly. So sorry about the glare coming off my big fat melon of a head. All right, what else we have? Rusty Benhammer. Hey, Jack, your financial info has gotten top-notch, brother. Been watching since day one. You're getting very good at this. Thank you, Rusty. And I appreciate you being here from day one. I have a blast doing this. I really enjoy it, and I want to keep doing this. So, guys like you, I will always remember you guys who were here among the first 100 subscribers or so, and even some of you guys who came over from Wall Street Silver before I even had this channel. And speaking of silver, speaking of silver, that's the other thing that we got to shrink my melon again because, man, silver this morning. Where are we going? Here we are. Let's bring up a technical chart in silver because look at this big, beautiful green candle. And what time was this? This was around 8 a.m., I think. Around 8:15. Look at that. We're going to have to blow up this chart a little bit. And I got a message from Brian Zarb on Twitter calling my attention to a tweet from Gold Ventures who said that there was somebody placed a single order for 4,000 silver contracts at 8 a.m. this morning, and that was this big spike that we saw. Right now, silver is up. What are we up right now? Oh, I lost my pricing here. Anyways, we're at 23.42. I guess we're up about 60 cents on the day right now. Fantastic start to the morning. We sold off a little bit, but we're coming back up here. Now, a 4,000 contract order. I want to put that in perspective because one silver contract is 5,000 troy ounces of silver. It's 5 of those beautiful 1,000-ounce good delivery bars. All right, so 4,000, 5,000-ounce contracts. All right. Somebody bought 20 million ounces of silver on paper this morning at a price of about $22.95, and that came in somewhere around $460 million worth of silver was bought in one fell swoop early in the morning. All right, so there's only a handful of players in the world with the kind of firepower it takes to buy $460 million of silver in one swoop. All right, so probably one of the banks. All right, this was probably one of the big bullion banks, bought a whole bunch or covered a chunk of their shorts. We had Ted Butler's article recently suggesting that Bank of America could be as much as 800 million ounces short silver. So this could have been Bank of America buying back a chunk of that. On that topic of Ted Butler's article assumed the entirety of Bank of America's gross position was all short silver. Probably a bit of a stretch. I'm sure Bank of America has some longs and a lot of shorts, and I'm sure Bank of America also had a little bit of platinum and palladium positioning built in there. But I do agree with his premise that the lion's share of that gross position is probably short silver, just maybe not the full 800 million ounces like he was speculating. But it looks like this was someone, I'm going to go out on a limb and guess Bank of America probably bought back a nice big chunk of their shorts this morning. Again, I don't have any concrete data to support that. That's just me speculating. And I just want to point out the banks giveth, the banks taketh away, because whoever bought that big pile of silver could turn around and dump it any second now and bring us right back down. We've seen it before, folks. So, again, we still do not have an open, free, and fair market in precious metals. So it is what it is, but I certainly have no objection to watching my favorite of the shiny metals climb the charts this morning. Beach Boy, sir, thank you very much for your continued support of the channel and your super chat, sir. I very much appreciate that. Beach Boy writes, so has China crashed yet? Nobody. No, China has not crashed yet. Although I recommend you check out that video I did yesterday, Beach Boy. I don't know if you saw that. I did a video about Country Garden and about the People's Bank of China yesterday, and that is a big story. What happened last week? Here, let's expand here. Last week, Country Garden tried to borrow $300 million in the bond market. It was J.P. Morgan and I think Citigroup had tried to broker the sale. They were going to sell $300 million of these convertible bonds, and they couldn't find a market for it. Nobody wanted to buy $300 million of Country Garden's debt, so Country Garden abandoned the plan. All right, and within 3 days, there was just an absolute bloodbath in Country Garden's bonds because the bond market saw this event and said, oh my God, Country Garden is huge, folks. This is the largest developer in China. They're even bigger than Evergrande, and they are supposedly a healthy company with a good cash position and not too much debt. Okay, so this is kind of like Shimeo, that company that was supposedly in perfectly good health, and then all of a sudden, wham, they're on the brink of bankruptcy. Country Garden is not on the brink of bankruptcy. I don't want to be too hyperbolic here. But Country Garden was supposedly healthy, and then they try to take out this $300 million in debt, and they can't. And the debt market says, there must be something wrong over at Country Garden. I'm dumping these bonds. Next thing you know, Country Garden's bonds are selling at 65, 70 cents on the dollar. And this is a supposedly healthy company with an investment grade credit rating from 2 out of the 3 big ratings agencies. So this contagion risk has now spread to Country Garden, the single largest developer by sales and project count in China. And Country Garden is massive. They have over 3,000 commercial real estate projects all around China and all the surrounding Asian countries. I mean, every province of China, there are dozens and dozens of these big apartment complexes being built by Country Garden. The whole country is just loaded with them. And again, it's a supposedly healthy company. They go to borrow money. Nobody wants to lend them money. And then it turns out the people who already lent them money are saying, uh-oh, time to dump that debt. And now Country Garden is in trouble. Now, they don't have that much debt coming due. They have a few $100 million coming due on January 27th, and then a few $100 million more, this is in dollars, coming due in July. All right, so not a huge pile of debt. And supposedly back in June, they had $29 billion in cash. We don't know how much cash they have now. And we also don't know how much of that cash position are they even allowed to spend, because a lot of times these companies take pre-sales, right? They sell these apartments in advance. Well, they're required to hold some of that cash in escrow kind of as a guarantee that those projects get finished. So they can't just go ahead and tap into all that cash and use it to pay their bonds, because they need that money to finish the apartments that they've already sold. So all this mayhem breaking out around Country Garden scared the crap out of the Chinese central bank, the PBOC, or the People's Bank of China. And then yesterday, very abruptly and very surprisingly, they had an interest rate cut. It was a small cut, only 10 basis points. All right, so this isn't, like one of these big Fed actions we see in the States, but it totally caught the market off guard. And this is the Chinese banks, or the Chinese central bank, telegraphing some major weakness. All right, while they march out these muckety mucks and these bankers and these regulators to talk about how strong their economy is and how everything is okay, everything is fine, but then they do a surprise rate cut. All right, that is a major sign of weakness by the Chinese central bank. And I've been covering Evergrande for a while here. I've been mentioning a couple things. I've been saying, watch out for Country Garden. I've been mentioning that for months now, because Country Garden has so far been above this malaise. Well, now they're not. Now they're caught up in it. And I've also been saying, watch out for those interbank lendings and watch out for China's banks. All right, it's going to spread from the real estate developers to the financials. And it looks like we're starting to see that finally. We've had Minsheng Bank, came out. They're getting absolutely crushed because of their exposure to Chinese developer debt. And now we've got the Chinese central bank is cutting rates, which is basically injecting liquidity into the market. They're trying to loosen up the lending, make it easier for companies to borrow, because they see this snowballing effect of these defaults, and it's spiraling out of control. They're trying to get out in front of it. And the only way to do that is to enable these developers to refinance their old debt with new debt. Right now, they can't do it. So they're trying to make it a little easier. So once again, Beach Boy, thank you very much for your support of the channel and for your question. And go check out that video I did yesterday about Country Garden. I think you'll find that eye-opening. Smart money is buying up the silver, says Rusty Benhammer. I agree. I agree very much. What else is going on? Let's revisit the markets right now, because, again, there was so much going on. I mean, just in the last couple of minutes, let's see what's going on. Wow, the Dow is down 500 points now, 520. NASDAQ down 254, almost 2% on the NASDAQ. S&P down 66. The Russell is now in the red also, so not a good day on markets right now. The markets don't like this expensive oil, which is now up $1 at 84.89, pushing $85 in that oil. Gold struggling to move in the green today. Silver up 48 cents, sold off a little bit of that. And those 10-year yields, keep an eye on those at 1.83. Again, above 2%. In my opinion, that 2.2 number is when things really get bad. Anyways, guys, I think I'm probably going to cut this one off. I am going to do a video later today on one of these topics in more detail. I don't know which one, but there was just so much going on this morning. I wanted to just do a kind of a shotgun live stream here and, just talk to you guys real quick about a couple of these things really quick. I appreciate everybody who stopped by and supported the channel. Thank you guys for your questions. A lot of you guys sent me links and sent me stories and tips by email and by Twitter over these last few days. Thank you guys so much for doing that. I can tell you it makes this job so much easier when you guys see these stories and you send the stuff to me, because I find out about it sooner, and I can go out and I can get my research done the night before and possibly get a story out, get a video up sooner. It's just a really big help, and it's been one of the unexpected bonuses of doing this, is this little network that has sprang up all over the world, because it's not just guys in the States, it's guys all over the world are sending me these links, and I just feel like I've got this little network feeding me information, and it thank you so much. Seriously, everybody, for doing that. You really, you're helping out the channel. You're making the channel better doing it. So very much appreciate that. All right, guys, I am going to call it here. Again, thank you for spending your morning with me. Go get yourselves a cup of coffee. Go get yourself something to eat, and I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Until next time, live small and dream big.